All right, ladies and gentlemen, today we're going to practice recognizing what quadrants are. Everybody say quadrants.
Quadrants.
Quadrants derives from the word in Latin. When you see the Q, U, A, that means four. That's where in Spanish we get our word. How do you say four in Spanish? You see how that comes together? Cuatro and quadrants are the same thing. Cuatro represents what?
Four.
How many sections do we have right here? 1, 2, 3, 4. The way I learned that, the funny thing is I didn't learn it through this. I remember learning that through my dad teaching me about quads. That's what they call them. They're four-wheelers.
Yeah.
Another way of calling them four-wheelers, you don't say, oh, I'm going to get a four-wheeler. I'm going to get a quad. When you say the word quad, that means you're going to get basically like a motorcycle that has four wheels on it. All right? Yes, sir.
So that's why squares in Spanish are called cuadros?
Right, because how many sides do squares have? Yeah. Yes, sir. Right, because that consists of how many more people? At least what?
Four. It does?
Yeah.
At least four more people.
Why it's your squad? Well, it doesn't necessarily four or more, but it's representing that it's a group of people, right?
I think you said squad.
Yeah. Four or more, yeah. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, and if I'm going to start calling your names out, that'd be great. So I'm just going to leave to your parents. It's already going to be on there anyways. All right, as we begin this, first thing, let's go ahead and label everything that we know. If I go to the middle, what is this recognized as? What number do I put right here?
0.
0, altogether 0. Right there, I'm going to make a little arrow and point towards it, and I'm going to write the word that we wrote yesterday, which is what? Origin. And then you can even put in parentheses, starting point. Awesome. Now we have to locate the different axes. All right? Or the axes. That's basically the x and y. So looking at 0, is this going to be the x or the y axis if I go on this line right here?
X.
Is it positive or negative?
Positive.
I'm going to put plus x. What about up here?
Y.
Positive or negative?
Positive.
Okay, what about this line?
Negative. X. Negative X.
Negative x. What about this line down here?
Negative Y.
Awesome. So what I want you guys to do is let's go ahead and start numbering just the x-axis, okay? Don't do the y, x, and y at the same time. Always start with the horizontal line. So we could put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Going to the left would be what? Negative. Go ahead and tell me out loud. -1?
-1, -2, -3, -4, and -5.
Sweet. All right, let's go ahead and go up. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, what about going down?
-1,
Everybody together.
-2, -3, -4, and -5.
All right. Next, what we're going to do is I'm going to add 2 more things of what we already did yesterday. I'm going to name each quadrant. Okay? I'm going to put Q1 up here, Q2 right here, and it has to be in this specific order. Q1 and Q2. Q3 down here, and Q4 on this side. Go ahead and do that, please. How many of you guys are wondering why we cut the other flaps on the side? I'm glad you guys are wondering that. Because you're going to fold them in. And you're going to write them in a very special and specific way, okay? This first one, did I put Q1? So I'm going to close it, and I'm going to write this word. Quadrant. You're like, Mr. Garcia, that's an I. Yes, you're right, it is. But it's also a one in a specific country. Adrian? In Roman letters. In Roman numerals, that's what we call it. In Roman numerals, it's the number 1. You guys will see this coming weekend. I believe it's Super Bowl 50.
Yeah. It's an L and
51.
It's an L.
And so it says Super Bowl and it says L and it has this letter 1.
51.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, and 5 is a
Right. We'll go over it. Actually, we're going to write that in a minute.
Oh, I remember.
But we have to do it in a specific order. Now, this order is Q2, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to put quadrant. And how many Qs? I mean, how many letter ones?
2.
It has to be done in this order. Quadrant 1, 2, 3, and 4. Let's go down here. This is quadrant. Please stop hitting the table, Jesse. That's not necessary. Thank you. Oops, I misspelled quadrant on the first ones. Just add the A. That's why it's always good to go back and look at your work, ladies and gentlemen. How many letter I's am I going to put?
3.
Sometimes people are very detailed to the point. We'll just put them all, like I'll write it like, some people will write it like this. You can do that too. I just decided to do it like this. It's the same thing. You can do that for also too. It's just a matter of preference. And last one is quadrant what?
4.
Now here's a trick. Do not get ahead of me. Do not put 4. Okay?
1. It's 5.
This one's an interesting one.
It's
Here's what the thing is. So what happened to the Roman soldier that had to go to the hospital? What did they have to give him in order to bring him back to life?
IV.
4. They had to give him 4s. Because in Roman numerals, 4 is IV. So IV, because V stands for 5, so 5 minus 1 is,
4.
you have to read it kind of like the Japanese comic book. Remember I brought that back. 5 minus 1 is 4. What was that? Because when you go to the hospital, they give you IV.
And then 5 is
That's a discussion for science, not right now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, one more thing that we're going to do inside the graph and outside. Okay, great. Thank you, Devin. And it's funny because this lesson's being recorded, so it's going to be all over YouTube that you just came and interrupted my class. So go ahead and take a seat. First off, let's look at this. Remember how we order the ordered pairs with signs and X, and then after that it goes what? After X is Y? Go ahead and, so after X is what, ladies and gentlemen? Y. That's just the way it is in the alphabet. That's the way when we order the pairs. When we're looking at the graph, we always start off with the X-axis and then look at the Y-axis. Let's look at this quadrant right here only. We have the positive right here. We have a positive up here, right? So with this, I'm going to model it to you guys. It'd be positive, positive. So if you see, for example, a number that says, I need you to what is the ordered pair for what the dot that I just gave you? Let's look at this. Eddie, what is it? Remember, you read X first, and then you go up and read Y. So, what's first?
X is 2 and Y is 3.
So then you put 2, comma, 3, and in parentheses. Is that 2 positive, ladies and gentlemen?
Yes.
Is that 3 positive?
Yes.
Cool. Yes. That's why I said you gotta pay close attention. You can't fix that. Just do it all over again. It's just a lot of work. You have to pay close attention. Ladies and gentlemen, it's one of those things. It's like coding. I'm always going to go back to the innovation station. If you did not type in the code exactly how you saw it, did it work? No, it didn't. You have to attend to precision. You need to be very precise. Okay? How many of you guys seen Doctor Strange? The movie. He's a brain surgeon. One of the things about him that makes him one of the best brain surgeons in the whole, like, at least cinematic universe of Marvel is how precise he was before he became Doctor Strange. He was so precise
That he was able to take a bullet out without looking at the images.
exactly. But yet he got in a car accident and all his nerves coming here. His hands just started shaking a lot. He couldn't control it. So then he couldn't become a brain surgeon anymore. But you have to attend to precision, ladies and gentlemen. All right, let's look at quadrant number 2. What is the X on this side? Is it positive or negative?
Negative.
What about the Y?
Positive. Negative.
So if I were to ask you to locate this specific point, what's the ordered pair of where I put the dot at, Melanie? Wait, let's go. Look, read out the axis first. Which way here? -3. And what's the? So that's the first one. -3 and what? Is it positive or -3? Are we going up? What's the y-axis represent? Okay, so then is it a positive or -3? Yep. Do you guys see that?
Yes.
All right, let's look at the last one, or not, the third one. What's the x-axis represent here? What about the y-axis? Negative, negative. Here's the thing, if you really think about it, sometimes they look like faces. And if you look at the other ones, it's kind of like somebody's winking at you or something. It's kind of cool.
With a capital T? With a capital T? It's like if you try.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, Serena, what's the ordered pair for the dot that I just located?
4.
What? Is 4? You sure? Okay, -4 and
-1.
look down. Remember, it's x then y.
5.
Yep. -4, then -5. Sweet. Jesse, if you're struggling to see it, you're more than welcome to move up here. If this is the authentic way, buddy, if you're struggling, you can come over here and watch. Okay. All right, let's continue on. The x-axis on this is positive or negative? Last one.
Positive and negative.
And the y-axis is what?
Negative.
Yeah. Isaiah, what is the ordered pair for this dot that I just put? Remember, read x, the x-axis first, and then the y-axis.
-3.
Is it -3? Is this an x negative right here? Look at the x.
5.
Go ahead and say the sign. Read x first.
Positive 5.
Okay?
-3.
+5 and -3. Great job. One last thing before we move on. Quadrant number 1. What are the signs for quadrant number 1?
Positive and positive.
So go ahead and write it out here. Positive and positive. What about quadrant 2?
Negative.
Everybody together. What about quadrant 2?
Negative and positive.
What about quadrant 3?
Negative.
Negative and negative. And what about quadrant 4?
Positive and negative.
All right. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to give you guys an opportunity to work together as a group. I'll be walking around, monitoring you guys, making sure you guys are supporting each other. You guys are going to be working on, I believe, lessons 15 and 16. Okay, I'm going to hand you guys some exercises for that. All right?